Well, 4 winners from 6 picks and a massive price lean cashed across the opening EPL weekend of December. The aim is for more profit as the first midweek card of the season kicks off on Tuesday. This is Betting Weekly Premier League show. You're with myself, Dan Roebuck, alongside me, Nigel Seeley and Jack Wright. Nigel, you were right going 3-3 with the City Spurs game on Sunday. And I am starting to think that those speculative long odds plays might be the way forward. I mean, it was another chaotic weekend of Premier League football, and indeed for bettors as well. If you're playing these fancy price correct scores and, over 4.5, 5.5 and so on, you're cashing some big odds.
Yes, you are. I mean, not usually good for me, I must admit. So I know. Anyway, before we go on to that, Jack, last week you talked about the record. Jack got us out of trouble yet again. I mean, that's a copy and paste job for me this season. And another sweep from Jack, 3 out of 3. Only the one winner for me. That game was a wild match, wasn't it? With the lean of 3-3. I did say 4-3 or 5-3, so it wasn't actually just a 3-3.
But you got to spread your money. If they're 33s and 40s and 50-1 shots, you play them all, don't you? You don't just pick out one correct score. You're going to pick out a few that will cover that cluster of big correct scores.
Yeah, so I mean you got it right, but it wasn't just an official 3-3. So there's 3 picks, 3-3, 4-3, and 5-3, and it come in 3-3. The one thing I would say about the over markets though is that they're not just cashing; they're cashing easy. They're going over and when you say there, if you're looking at a match where you think potentially, I really like the over 2.5 or I like the over 3.5. You might as well go 4.5 and 5.5 the way the season's going and get much more juice in your price because they are going over with such ease at the moment in the Premier League. It's crazy. I mean. The weather of the weekend was Baltic, wasn't it? I mean, it was freezing. It was the coldest day of the year. It was -1 degrees, -2 degrees up and down the country, -10, I think it was in some places. And there was still games going over again easy. In the evening matches, we had that Newcastle game, which was an under game. How that cashed to unders, I don't know. And then we had obviously the other late game was an unders as well with Nottingham Forest Everton. But it's a wild season. And Yesterday, we recorded this on Monday. Yesterday was just another insane day. 4-3 Liverpool, incredible. So, I think what you're doing now, if you are betting the overs, and I know a lot of people are, I'm actually going over on one pick today, which is unheard of again. But I think if you are going to go overs and you are going to go 2.5 and you're going to get like -110 or even money, you might as well look at the 3.5 and 4.5. And if you see one of these games like a couple of matches we're going to talk about in the show in this midweek card, 5.5 and 6.5 aren't the worst bets to have the way the Premier League is going at the moment.
As Nigel has suggested, and I'm sure everyone was across, Jack went 3-3 at the weekend. Can't fault the plays, but just that theme that Nigel was talking about. Do you feel, Jack, and we're really nitpicking here, that you might have left a little bit on the table here? I mean, your corners play was fantastic when you're going over 3.5. It was 7 corners each, I think, in that Bournemouth Villa game. And again, you're playing Spurs on an Asian line of plus 175. You're going to get more for your money if you played it. Obviously, quarter goal, half a goal, or whatever. They are solid selections. And we're really nitpicking here. But, in hindsight, you're thinking, I probably could have pushed it a little bit.
No. Well, mate, you know what, Dan? I will take 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3 every single week with cozy wins at the prices that we're playing at all day long. Yeah, I'm happy with a nice, comfortable win rather than pushing it a bit too far and going, I didn't need to quite be that aggressive. Look, I get it. If you were that kind of better, absolutely fill your boots. And what we suggest, and if it isn't your style, then you can always, as you say, you could have gone, well, I'm going to go a better on the handicap. I know some people kind of, as you said, you cover your stakes on the correct scores, but some would have gone over 3.5 corners each, over 4.5, 5, 6, and kind of laddered it up. Those options are there if you want to play that style. So we put out picks, and I'm happy going down that route. And certainly, if I have a good week, then I'll take that good week and run off with my cash.
I think I'll take any win. I'll take any win at the moment. Any win will do.
Look, we talked about a little bit about this last week. I think that bettors, listeners, viewers sometimes have got to read between the lines what all our handicappers on all of our shows are saying. And it's not necessarily just the picks that the guys are putting up here, but it's a bit of strategy. It's a little bit of knowledge about how the market might move and what's going on in the market. And sometimes you can just draw a little bit more information out that you might be able to use in a different way to the guys who are playing the picks every single week. It's not just about putting up the picks. It's a bit of education, we hope, and strategy over the course of the season. Speaking
Just
of picks,
a really quick one on the goals we talked about there. In these games that you think there are going to be maybe 3.5 over 4.5, certainly have a look at those first half goals as well, because some of these sides are coming out of the traps, flying. We saw it yesterday. And I played a couple on the first half goal lines because we had those sort of sides that have been open. Chelsea, Brighton yesterday, Liverpool, Fulham. We weren't expecting Fulham to contribute towards that. But you could see that Liverpool could come out the traps flying. And you can get some good prices on either an Asian line first half or even over 1.5, and then maybe play it with a high line as well. And you can put doubles together. And if you want to play that sort of style, as say, because yesterday afternoon there looked goals in like 3 or 4 of those games, and so it came to pass early doors as well.
Yeah, both teams to score in every single game yesterday as well. 24.67 return on investment over the weekend from Nigel and from Jack. Right, Tuesday, 2:30 Eastern, Wolves against Burnley. Wolves minus 120. They've drifted a little over the course of the last few hours. Burnley 340, draw plus 270 here. Burnley with their first home win, Jack, of the season against Sheffield United in the Premier League at least. Wolves 2-1 defeat at Arsenal. What's your play here?
Plays Wolves on the money line at minus 120 now. So, that the weekend results went for me on this. This is one bet that I had had an eye on as far as this show is concerned ahead of the game. And I nearly, in fact, they're on my original shortlist last week for Burnley to beat Sheffield United. The lesser of two evils it was, really. But when it came down to justifying why I was going to go for Burnley, it was predominantly a gut shot. So it kind of got left by the wayside with others I fancied more. So a 5-0, I probably wasn't expecting that. Well, I definitely wasn't expecting that, to be fair. But that was good for this bet because, as you say, the money's going to come a little bit for Burnley off the back of them with such a resounding win. Wolves with a defeat. But I think, as far as Wolves are concerned, they could have well been facing down the barrel of what Lens faced in the Champions League and got blitzed by Arsenal. 2 early goals and they held firm, got their foothold back in the game, scored a late goal and a little bit of to and fro towards the end, and they could have nicked a point out of it. So I think fair play. Under Gary O'Neill, I think he's impressing both on and off the field as such. His coaching has been decent. I think his way he's conducted himself under testing circumstances with the refereeing decisions that have gone against him has been great. We've obviously seen him in the UK on some, a mainline football show. And I think he impressed most people on that with how he conducted himself and talked through that as well. So, I like what he's done at Wolves. I think they've had a tough start to the season in more ways than one. And you look at Burnley, that win at the weekend against Sheffield United, so I think was expected. They've now won twice against Luton, against Sheffield United, 2 sides that they dominated last season and came up with from the Championship. So not a massive surprise there. They picked up a point against Nottingham Forest and then have lost their other 11 games and quite convincingly on most occasions. So that was their first clean sheet at the weekend. I think Wolves have got a little bit more about them this season than we've seen in the past. I hold my hands up because obviously I said that they were a candidate to get relegated this season. I don't think they're going to be in that conversation as the season progresses through. 2 pieces of key team news for them. They had João Gomez and Mario Lemina missing at the weekend only for suspension reasons, not injury related. So they'll come back into this side as well. Key components of their team. And when you look at their home games they've had so far this season, 6 home games, they've all been against sides that are in the top 8. So a really, really hard start at Molineux, which we know can be a fortress. And I think the refereeing decisions is going to galvanise. We've seen it with Everton. I think we're going to see it, the same sort of thing here with Wolves with this kind of VAR thing going on around them. And I think that will bring the support, which can be a noisy and vociferous support in one of those old school grounds, to the fore here. But you look at their record, they're unbeaten in their last 4 at home. They've drawn with Villa and Newcastle. They're beating Tottenham and Manchester City. That's not too shabby at all. And I'd take them to have too much for a Burnley side that I'm not going to take a one swallow making a summer. And that win at the weekend, I'll put as an outlier. And we'll be back to normal service on Tuesday, tomorrow.
Burnley minus 200 to be relegated. Nigel, as Jack has just alluded to there. Look, they beat an awful Sheffield United side and weren't at the races, but it was a significant win for them in terms of confidence. Still think they're probably going to go down. What are your thoughts on that relegation price?
Well, I mean, it's just looking at the relegation battle, you've got to think of who else is going to be drawn into it. I mean, Fulham are going to take some confidence by scoring 3 against Liverpool. Bournemouth is putting some run together. Nottingham Forest are sliding down pretty quickly, but I think they'll be very different when they get players back from injury. So it was a big win, but they need to take off points from other teams above them, not just the teams in and around them. It was, Sheffield United at home is a given. It's a buy now, isn't it? 3 points in the bag, whatever they play. So it would be a nice win if you could take them off a Nottingham Forest or a candidate a little bit above you. But I think, the reason why they are the price they are, and it hasn't really moved on the back of that performance and that win, is because there isn't many other contenders for relegation this season. There is probably only a 6-runner event, really, isn't it? So, big win, but they need a few more of them at home against teams a little bit higher in the table than Sheffield United, I'm afraid.
Big price Luton against Arsenal on Tuesday, 3:15 Eastern, slightly later kickoff at Kenilworth Road. Luton plus 1,300 here, Arsenal minus 480. Luton beaten by Brentford, Jack, last time out. And when we get these short price favourites, it's all about trying to add some value and trying to get a fair price for bettors. So how do we go about it here? Because I know you're going to go for an Arsenal win, but there's a little bit of a boost here. So talk us through your play.
Yes, actually the other way around. I've gone for the player I wanted has been boosted by sticking the Arsenal win into it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, but I wanted to get Arsenal or Liverpool on side here because I felt that obviously the games they've got against Luton, against Sheffield United, they've got to win these games. And I think we've talked about it in the past, the squad size coming off the back of that. This is the first midweek Premier League round, isn't it, as you mentioned already? So coming straight into that after a quick turnaround does suit the bigger squad, the higher quality, and sides that haven't been chasing the ball for 70% of the game, like Luton tend to do and Sheffield United do. So Arsenal will dominate here. The bet in question is Arsenal to win at that price, and over 5.5 Arsenal corners. It comes in at minus 122. As I said, I wanted to get one of those sides on side and looked at the kind of other markets where a dominant performance is going to result in either, say, both teams scoring, or it's going to result in, say, a win to nil, or it's going to result in corners. And that's what I fell on here with a corner selection, mainly because I initially actually looked at if Luton are going to be able to win a small amount of corners. That line is low, but it's low for a reason. It's because Arsenal don't tend to give any away. They've conceded 1 corner in like 4 away games this season. That's all. So it's ridiculously low. So that knocked that one out, the equation. But Arsenal tend to win plenty, and Luton tend to concede a fair few. They've conceded 6 or more in 4 of their 6 home games. The 2 most equivalent games were Spurs and Liverpool. 6 corners for Spurs, 7 for Liverpool. And what I like is that Luton, we know they are going to make it tough. I don't think Arsenal are going to rock up here and win this 4 or 5-0 with a cruise. Luton do tend to make it tough. They'll sit deep. They'll look to hit on the counter. So that will mean that Arsenal will have loads of the ball. I reckon 70% of the ball they'll have. So they will be in those areas that are going to result in winning corners. They're going to be looking to cut the ball back into the box, or they're going to be having shots from distance. Their away games this season, they've had 6 or more corners in all 6 of their away games, and they're averaging 8.5 corners per away game. 6 was the lowest total they've hit. They hit that once. Other than that, they've been over that. They've hit 11 twice on the road this season. So that's the reason why I think they're going to dominate the game. They're going to get in those situations. I think Luton will try and make it tough. But whatever way round this one goes, I think Arsenal will dominate and therefore create lots of chances and lots of corners. That's the main line with it. Throw an Arsenal in the win to get that just to a backable price.
Minus 122, Arsenal to get the 3 points and to have 6 corners or more. Villa Manchester City is a Wednesday game, 3:15 Eastern here. Nigel, just on the title prices, because we referenced these ahead of the show at the weekend. Now, City have dropped points, of course, against Spurs, but they are still minus 162 for the title here. Arsenal plus 350, Liverpool plus 450, both, of course, winners. No change there. You're a little bit surprised that City haven't drifted a little?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's serious problems at Man City. I think defensively, as we touched on it, that they changed the system quite a lot. Different players, different personnel. They're conceding goals for fun. Arsenal are just hitting some great form, looking confident. They don't like getting beat. Some of them that games against Wolves a couple of seasons ago, you'd know better than me, Dan. But you could feel a little bit nervy. I'm not quite sure if they got that anymore. I think that last year has made them a much better side. And Liverpool just keep going under the radar. I mean, we spoke about how much they may regret that defeat against Luton, but it was a late goal. Another 2 late goals yesterday. I mean, they're not giving up at all, Liverpool. They've got something about them, and I still don't think they've hit the stride yet, Liverpool. So interesting you say that. We put a tweet out on the Because We Win. That's on my phone trying to get the tweet. I put a tweet out this morning. If you had a free $100 wager on the Premier League title with Bet Rivers, who would you bet? And it just shows you where the market is at the moment. We only did it a couple of hours ago. 60 votes on it. 29% of the 60 votes were both for Manchester City at -162, 38% for Arsenal at +350, and 33% on Liverpool at +450. That vote is available to still put your vote down for another sort of 20 hours or so until tomorrow. So that shows you that we've got a real title race, because that's pretty much split. People can't decide. So yeah, I was a little bit surprised. I wouldn't bet Man City at all, and I think this is going to be a struggle for them.
It's going to be interesting against Villa. No Rodri, of course, for Manchester City. He's picked up a 5th booking. We know, anecdotally, I'm not quite sure the stats actually work. I'm going to delve into them a little bit later and put some stuff on Twitter for you. But no Rodri generally means that they're not as good. They are -134 favourites. They have drifted. They were -150 overnight. Villa are +320 here. We know how good they are at home. The draw at +335. Nigel, give us your play first and foremost, because we've got selections from Nigel and Jack on this one. But what's your play in Villa City?
Well, I mean, you might want to record this, but it's over 3 goals.
We are recording it.
Over 3 goals. I think over 3 goals at -130.
So this is Asian line, push if it's 3.
Push if it's 3, Asian line -130. I think it's 136. I can't remember what the price is.
Yeah, 136.
-136 over 3 goals. I mean, how this match cannot cash over 3 goals, I've got no idea. I mean, Man City just conceding goals, like for fun. 3-3 against that. They feel aggrieved by that. And every time that Man City are a little bit aggrieved, they come back with a stonking performance. Villa scoring goals. I mean, 22 in the last 9 matches from Manchester City, this bet would have been a push or a cash over 3 goals in all but one of their matches. And exactly the same in Aston Villa games. Their last 9 matches, a push or a collect, and you only lost in 1. Now they go head to head. This fixture traditionally scores goals. If you look at the last recent matches since going back about 2010, I think went back to, over 3 goals has cashed in 10 matches. It's been a push twice and only lost once in the last 13 matches in this fixture. So this fixture notoriously has goals. These 2 sides are probably the most attacking and entertaining teams in the Premier League currently. And there's a lot of teams in the Premier League that are attacking and entertaining. 22 matches. This bet would have only lost 4 times this season in Aston Villa matches. So in 18 of their matches this season, over 3 goals, you would have got your money back or you would have collected. And it's exactly the same in Manchester City matches. 22 matches this season, you'd only lost 4 times. 3 goals is a big number here. I mean, I wouldn't put anybody off going off over the 3.5 and get plus money. It wouldn't surprise me at all to see this being anything. But with that 3 and the luxury of having that push, when you consider that market has only lost once in 13 in this fixture, and it's only lost in 8 times combined in the Premier League this season in 22 matches. Or in all fixtures, sorry. That is an outstanding. It's won or it's been a push in 31 matches between the 2 of these sides this season, which is staggering, really. So, yeah, it's got to be goals. Rodri's out, which is a blow from Jack Grealish is also suspended, I think. So he doesn't play against his childhood team, which will probably be disappointing. And obviously De Bruyne doesn't play as well. So that's a big 3 players. Whether you think Grealish is a regular or not, but they've got to rejig that midfield, which will consider without Rodri, their chances of conceding are very, very high. If you look at the price for both teams to score, it's very, very low. So the Bet Rivers are expecting goals, but the price for 3 goals is value, I think. So, I'm going to go for 3 goals with a push. yeah, this game just looks goals. I mean, the goal next year in the two teams here is the highest in the Premier League so far this season. I think Liverpool are the only other team up there with them. Tottenham are just behind them, but most entertaining teams in the Premier League. Goals galore, goals from all over the pitch as well. About the keys, you would say that Villa's only key holding midfielder really heaps it together is Rodri. He's not there. It is a chocolate fireguard defence at the moment from Man City. So I would expect Villa to expose that again. Conceding goals, big concerns at Etihad. Over 3 goals, -136 with a push and exactly 3.
Question marks about the Manchester City defence and their midfield. Maybe we should play Villa somehow, somewhere, some market. Jack?
Well, firstly, thanks to Nick Seeley there for his goals galore selection.
I'm never doing a same game parlay again ever. That's one thing I've noticed from the weekend. It's the only note I would have from the weekend. My one dip in the toe in the water, never going back in that water again. Forget that. Same game parlay is done.
Sticking to the overs now.
Yeah, I've like, Jack?
Villa +1 here, -137. So again, if you want to be more aggressive, you're more than welcome to. But I want to keep that Man City win by a single goal as far as that a little bit onside, so that we do get a refund if that is the case. But we know we've been super strong supporters of Villa all season so far. 13 straight Premier League home wins now. That run will come to an end, of course, but I think they've got a fantastic chance in this one at a great price. And the fact that this can end in a draw, another 3-3 maybe, and we'd still win with this bet quite cosily. So I'm happy with that. Villa scored 2 or more goals in their 11 of those 13 wins, which is quite an incredible stat as well. Pep's admitted Man City are struggling of late. As you say, no Rodri, lost all 3 games without him in this season. League and Cup. So that doesn't bode well, as we already mentioned. Grealish, I think Doku's possibly injury doubt as well. So lots to worry about as far as Man City can worry. And so you're always kind of a bit nervous taking on City. But I remember Will White, one of his little phrases earlier in the season was to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So here we are again. We're going in for it. But I like Villa a lot in this one. It's got the makings of it. It's a quick turnaround. Villa at home. Their fans are going to be bang up for this one, of course, as they always are, roaring them on. And so you look at Man City, 1 win in their last 4, and they conceded 10 goals across those as well. So, as we said, should be goals galore in this one. Expecting those, and expect Villa to come to the party big style in it, and enough to get this one over the line. Absolutely right. So ended 1-1 between these two last season, but that was in the Gerrard era. Villa are much, much better than that now. We know, in the top 4 and can go above Manchester City here with a win. So lots to like about it, and I'm well on board with it.
+1 Aston Villa at -137. That's Jack's play. Let's go to Manchester United Chelsea, 3:15 Eastern again on the Wednesday here. Chelsea are favourites to win at Old Trafford, +138. Manchester United +188. They have drifted a little bit here. I don't know why, but I am sort of surprised that Chelsea are moneyline favourites to such an extent here. Nigel, talk us through your play here, because you've got a little caveat here. I don't know what you make of the market. Should Chelsea be favourites to this extent?
I think they should be, marginal favourites. I don't know about as strong as they actually are. I think there is a huge negative towards Manchester United and Ten Hag. I mean, I think the market just doesn't like them. You know, it doesn't matter who they're playing at the moment. There's a market negativity towards Manchester United. The performance against Newcastle was poor, to say the very, that's been positive to them. The scoreline flattered them massively. I mean, it should have been 3-0 down at half time. I mean, they were totally outplayed by Newcastle. And that was a weakened Newcastle side, wasn't it? I mean, that was a Newcastle side that didn't have a lot of key players playing in that match. And you saw where Manchester United are. We've spoken about Manchester United a lot on this show. And I think these two sides in this match are probably the hardest 2 teams in the Premier League to actually gauge where they are at the moment. Manchester United, how good can they be? They can go on 3 or 4 winning runs and go up to about 6 in the Premier League, and then they can lose and go down, and we say there'll be problems again. Chelsea, exactly the same. But the one thing that Chelsea do have is goals in this team at the moment, which is very much unlike Chelsea. These Chelsea teams over the years have been 1-0 wins, 1-0 wins, 2-0 wins, very, very strong at the back defensively and not so great going forward. This side is totally opposite. They're weak at the back and they've got goals galore. Nkunku, the centre forward, it could be back very shortly. I mean, he probably won't play in this match, but he's going to feature very, very imminently. And I think that will really kickstart Chelsea. I think they're a big team for me to follow in 2024. I think they've got an excellent manager. I've said it many times. I think he's just doing what he's doing at the moment with the squad. I think he's a work in progress. I think you'll see a lot of better Chelsea next year. So I'm going to go for Chelsea in a draw no bet here at -130. The last 10 years, they haven't won this fixture, though, Chelsea. Man United have had a very, very good record. Going back to 2013, when Get Lucky was number one from Daft Punk. It was the last time I got lucky. And I think that Chelsea, I think that Manchester United have been riding their luck definitely over the last few weeks. So I think that now is the time to get with Chelsea here. A big couple of weeks for Chelsea. Obviously, this match, then they've got to play Bayern Munich at home. That's a big, big game. I think that's going to take a lot of... that will determine Ten Hag's future. That will determine really the state of Manchester United this season. And then they got Liverpool as well just before Christmas at home. So this is a big time for Manchester United. And I think that the way Chelsea is scoring goals, I think that against this Manchester United defence, which is weak, goalkeeper who's got a severe lack of confidence at the moment, I think Chelsea's extra goal powder, which is going to get stronger as well, is a great thing here. If you look at Chelsea's last three matches away from home, every single one of them has been 4-1. A 4-1 defeat, 2 4-1 wins. There's been 23 goals in Chelsea's last 4 games as well. So when you talk about freak results, and we're talking about 3-3 in the Villa Man City game, if you're looking at a freak result this week, Chelsea v Manchester United v Chelsea is another one that could be anything, given the way that Manchester United are defending and Chelsea are scoring goals. 3-2 at the weekend against Brighton. Manchester United obviously involved in the 3-3 against Galatasaray. Goals galore at the moment. So if you are looking for sort of a parlay and a City, an over 4.5, over 5.5, and you've got Villa and Manchester City as a one there, Chelsea, Manchester United, or Manchester United, Chelsea is another one that should be on your in your betting list. But I'm going to go for Chelsea draw no bet. I think the extra attacking threat they have, the team seems to be playing for the manager, and I think Manchester United have serious problems and some big matches that may take their focus away with the Bayern Munich game. What is it, next week? Next midweek? That's a big match for Manchester United Football Club, and I think their league form may suffer in this one. And Chelsea, with the luxury again of the draw, could be a draw, a lot of draws in this fixture. The luxury of the draw, I think they overturn that terrible record they've had in the last 10 years.
3-3 is 33 to 1, 4-3 United 70, 4-3 to Chelsea 60, and 4-1 to Chelsea 33 to 1 plus 3,300. Jack, United plus 450 top 4, Chelsea plus 700 top 4. 5 points of difference between the two. I mean, that is priced obviously because United are clear of Chelsea, but a free $5 on that. I mean, we'd all play Chelsea, wouldn't we, Jack?
Of the two, yeah, I'll play neither of them personally. I think they're not in that argument at this moment in time. I think the top 3 is sorted, whichever way around they fall. And then 4th comes between 3 sides for me: Newcastle, Tottenham, or Villa. Once Tottenham have shown that they can do it without the likes of Madders playing and some key defenders. So I think, they're ones to watch to pick up again. And so I think Villa keep going strength to strength. And Newcastle, what a brilliant year it's been, 18 months, and they keep going. And they're so strong defensively. All those 3 have got key elements that are good for them. And then, United and Chelsea below them for me.
The other thing about Newcastle, just in that top 4 market, and this is a very important fact, that Newcastle could be out of Europe. That's a huge thing for them. And also, they will spend in January. They've got that luxury of bringing a lot of players that are out in Saudi back to the club. They can bring back, Benzema could rock up at St. James's. It's a possibility. They could bring a lot of players over from Saudi. I think you'll see Newcastle really strengthen. And when other teams have got the Champions League to participate in, and obviously with Aston Villa involved in the European Conference, which are heavy favourites to win, I think if Newcastle get out of Europe, that will help them massively on their run for the top 4.
Plus 160 Newcastle for top 4. Incidentally, just very quickly, we had the FA Cup draw yesterday in the UK. Chelsea are at home to Preston. United are away at Wigan. They are 9 to 1 the pair, plus 9,000. Man City are favourites. I mean, you suggested, Nigel, that Chelsea could be a bet. I mean, they were 12 plus 1,200 not so long ago. I mean, they should beat Preston, shouldn't they? At home, plus 900 is a fair price still.
My team QPR beat Preston at the weekend, so you think that Chelsea would be able to beat. They're in shocking form, Preston, by the way. But no, I like Chelsea. I've said many times. I think Wentz Nkunku comes back and he plays the system that he wants, and that was the striker he wants, you will see an improvement with Chelsea. They're a very young squad as well. I think they're going to get better and better and better. Brilliant manager, and I think he will target the FA Cup. Chelsea's record in the FA Cup is exceptional. And with the draw they got, I think they'll be through to the last 32. And I think there's a lot of all Premier League matches in the FA Cup draw. So a lot of big teams are going to go by the wayside. So I like Chelsea. I also like Tottenham. I said as well as this show.
They've got Burnley at home, haven't they? Yeah, they're plus 1400.
I think Tottenham, the way they play, it's going to be, it's do or die, isn't it? And in cup football, if Tottenham are 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go under Ange, I mean, that will be.
Oh, look, mate.
That'll be epic. It'll be absolutely epic. You know, me setting goals in that game. So I'll go under on the goals in that game. That'll be wild. So I like the two London clubs, Tottenham and Chelsea.
City are plus 275 favourites. They play Huddersfield. Don't know if you've looked at the FA Cup market very quickly. Jack, any thoughts?
I'd like to go a little bit further down. Yeah, we talked about Villa, their home form, and we do know that Emery loves a cup competition.
Yeah, he's a cup manager. Plus 2,000.
Yeah, if they get like a run of home games, then they're going to fancy themselves against anyone at home. So, yeah, I think that I'd have a little dabble further down the market at some of these sides that on their day can beat anyone. 20-1
Villa at the moment, plus 2,000. One more game to preview for our midweek card. It's Thursday, Eastern, 3:15. It's Spurs against West Ham, London derby. Spurs minus 129. They've been nibbled at just a little bit over the course of the last few hours. West Ham plus 325. Draw plus 310. If this game was played end of October when Spurs were top and they were unbeaten, Nigel, they'd be shorter, a lot shorter than they are in the market here. What's the play?
I'm going to take Tottenham on the money line. They were minus 125. I'm happy with minus 129. I just think that last minute goal and the team spirit he's got there, it will take them on. They'll be full of adrenaline going into this match. They've seen the top three sort of pull away a little bit, but with the depleted team, the injuries, and obviously Maddison out, they're doing well, Tottenham. I mean, people will turn around and say to you, yes, they've lost their last 4 matches, but they scored first in all 4. Sorry, they haven't won in 4 matches, but they scored first in all 4 of those matches as well. They got goals, and they must have been one of the most unluckiest teams in terms of their scoring. They scored 9 goals in those 4 matches and didn't win a match. And that's over 2 goals, averaging 2 goals per game, and you're not winning, which is incredible. That's what you're going to get at Tottenham. I think they'll take the game to West Ham. I think the crowd will be up for it after the point against Manchester City. If it was at home for West Ham, I think West Ham would have a chance. But West Ham at Tottenham, the way this Tottenham side play, I think the two tactically, Moyes against Postecoglou, there's only one winner in terms of tactics. I think Moyes will just try to contain them, and if they go toe to toe, I think Tottenham will tear them apart. So if you look at West Ham, I know they're on a good run. You know, people look at current form and Tottenham on a bad run and West Ham on a good run. But if you break it down a little bit, I mean, Tottenham have played some tough matches and they've scored goals. If you look at West Ham, they've won. They're unbeaten in 5, 2 in the Europa League, but the other 3 matches are against Forest, Burnley, and Palace. This is a big up. This is a big jump. If you go to when West Ham have gone on the road to teams sort of similar to Tottenham, they went to Villa, got beat 4-1, and they went to Liverpool and lost 3-1. So when they've gone up against the big boys, they've been found wanting, West Ham, and they've been sort of flat track bullies, haven't they? They've been beating teams in or around them at the bottom of the table. I just think Moyes won't know what's hitting when they come out, Tottenham come out of the traps, and I think they could win quite easy. So Tottenham minus 125 was the line. Happy with minus 129, but don't look too much into form. The form here is a bit deceptive. I mean, Tottenham have played well in some of those defeats, and they've been very unlucky with injuries. And the game against Tottenham, the game against Chelsea, well, yeah, that was just a wild match, wasn't it? 9 men, so you can't really take that much into that as well. But the fact they're scoring goals and the fact that they've got goals from all over the pitch at the moment. I mean, Son's not scoring, but they're scoring goals elsewhere as well. No, he scored yesterday, but he's had a bit of a bad run. I think that extra goal threat they have gives them the edge over this West Ham side. So Tottenham for me, very simple on the money line.
-129 at the moment. I think they're a value play. That's a Thursday.
That's the third time you've said to me. You said the draw. You said Liverpool to win to nil was a value bet 4-3.
I didn't say that. I didn't. I said that to you. I said that to you on the phone. I didn't say that on your show.
Private conversation.
It's a private
three
combo.
Times you said
it's
on
a
your
private
show,
combo.
one of my picks. That is a good bet, and every single one.
I said it's a value play. I didn't say it was a winning play.
Don't say anything. Just keep your opinions to yourself. I'm always looking for things. I'm always looking for angles while I'm having a bad run. And I know it's the right. You never mention anything to Jack about his picks. You never say, I said, yeah, it's a good play. It's always me. Start picking on some of Jack's ones. Leave me alone for a few months. Just let me get back to winning ways. And then, but you'll honestly, please, I'm begging you.
If you replay the shows, I'm always very complimentary about Jack's plays.
You say, I agree with you there. I like that. That is the kiss of death. Honestly, it's about 0-5. Please, I'm begging you. Leave me out.
There's no hidden agenda here. And also, look, over the course of the season, class will always out. Let's get some best bets from Nigel.
I was going to go for that. I'm not going for that
now. Jack, what's your
eliminate
best?
One now?
What's your?
I'm going with Wolves.
Wolves. Well, I really like that one. I think it's one of the best plays. I think it's one of the best. It's one of the best tips of the season. I'm telling you, Nigel. What are you going to give us for your best play?
I'm going to hope you. Hope you. Villa over 3. Villa v Man City over 3 goals.
I'm not saying
nil, that one. Nice.
I'm not saying anything. Nigel, Jack, thanks for your company. Good luck with your plays. That is a wrap. Week 15 of Betting Weekly Premier League show. We will be back on Thursday for all the best bets on the EPL weekend card. Stay across all of the Betting Weekly content at Because We Went and our YouTube channel. From all of us for now, though, it is goodbye.